Luke, many congratulations. A straight sets win. Was that exactly how it was planned?
Yeah, of course. That's what you plan in your mind, don't it? You think win straight sets and no unnecessary drama. But you know, the way Paul started off, it kind of felt like I was in a game here, and you know, he set the tone, good 180, and maybe that helped me a little bit to think, you know, I'm in a real big game here, and great first leg from myself. You know, 12 dart, and yeah, the first 2 sets were really clinical for myself. I felt like I scored really well, finished really well, and you know, didn't really give them that opportunity to try and get back at me.
How do you assess your performance in the whole? Because you averaged 108 over the first 2 sets, a really imperious performance. And the last set you tailed off a little bit. You still got over the line. Do you take more pride from that performance, more shame from the tailing off at the end? How do you assess it?
Yeah, I mean, I did it against Ted Tibus. It doesn't bother me, you know. It's kind of one of them scenarios where, you know, if you're not getting a lot thrown back at you, it can become a little bit harder for yourself. You know, obviously I got myself into that great winning position of winning the first 2 sets, and you know, if you're playing against a player that's pushing you all the way, and I'm not winning sets 3-0, you know, you're in a big game, and you know, I kind of felt like I was really comfortable and I relaxed too much. I did that against Ted, and you know, it wasn't the same scenario as it was against Ted. But yeah, I think that when you got a lot thrown back at you, I think you know, when I come back in after Christmas against Gabriel, that you won't see a set like that against from me. I won't play like that in the set, no.
And a word on Paul as well, a legend of the game. You both have a lot of respect for each other. How much of a pleasure was it to share the stage with him once again?
Yeah, of course it is. He really is a legend, you know, and he is a nicest guy as everyone thinks he is. He really is that person. And you know, he's really respectful, and you know, it's just nice to share the stage with him again. It was nice to obviously avenge that defeat in 2021 and win. You know, hopefully that's not his last one, and hopefully he comes back again next year in the Great Hall and at least has one more. And hopefully it's not me that beats him, and or maybe it will be in the final. That'd be great. But you know, it's nice that he's still playing, and you know, I'm hoping that we see him in Bahrain and Saudi as well in the World Series, because he's still a great player. You know, he's still got a lot to give.
And as you said, Gabriel Clemens in round 3, a semi-finalist here before as well. Will we see you reach another gear in that game? Is that the plan?
I mean, yeah, not the way I was playing, I don't think you maybe see me have another gear. I think you'll see a lot more consistency from myself. You know, you won't see me drop off and have these 80 odd average sets that I do. You know, usually when the pressure's on me and I know I've got to provide, that's when I'm very consistent. So, you know, for me, I'm not going to take nothing away from that performance and thinking, oh, I dropped off again. You know, 2 great first sets. I really set the tone, and you know, when I go back for Christmas and get back on the practice board, I know that when I come back I'll be more consistent, and I know that's what I'll do.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Luke, congratulations on the win. I know it's a silly question to ask, but given, you know, how warmly you guys spoke about each other ahead of this match, how much did you enjoy being up there again, you know, playing with Paul? As you say, there's a huge amount of respect between you two as players, and you know, you're playing with a big smile on your face.
Yeah, of course I enjoyed the game, and I just enjoyed going up there every time, no matter who I play against. And you know, I think for me the special moment was for how great the crowd were. You know, I felt they were really good. They wasn't really unfair to me. I kind of expected a lot worse. I felt like I'm in for a real nasty one here, but you know, fair play to them. They wasn't nasty at all. They kind of didn't really try and put me off a lot. They were just, you know, what darts fans should be like. You celebrate the person you want to win, and they were really good tonight. And you know, that atmosphere that they created for Paul, I kind of don't know if I've ever experienced one so great as that. And yeah, fair play to him, because he's the kind of man that really deserves a great reception like he did.
And I know it's only the second round and there's still a lot of work to be done, but it's also a moment really for you to sort of reflect on the journey really of the last 5 years, given sort of what happened 5 years ago when you guys met at a World Championship, and obviously that spurred you on, and you spoke very eloquently about the changes that you made, and now just kind of reflecting on that journey over the last 5 years and what's still to come really. I wonder if you will have a moment to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not the same person I was in 2021. I'm a more experienced player, more dedicated player, and you know, I did say in my interview when I was here, you know, I think 8 or 9 days ago, whatever it was, you know, it changed me as a person, that loss. And of course, things like that don't happen on purpose, but it just did. It made me more dedicated. It made me realise I had things to change, and I had to dedicate myself to the sport a little bit more and lose a lot of weight. And I did do that, and it really did help me. So, yeah, of course, Paul didn't do it for my benefit, but it definitely did benefit me losing that game against him in 2021. And I felt like coming into this game, I was more experienced and more resilient to not let the crowd affect me. And they were great tonight, but that level of experience I think does help you.
Luke, congratulations.
Thank you, mate.
How easy would it have been, and how important was it not to get caught up in all the fanfare up there and get involved in the crowd and almost take your eye off the ball?
Yeah, of course, it's easy to do things like that and just appreciate the moment and not really focus on what you're actually doing. But this is the World Championships. You have to have a sort of a level head of. You're in this tournament to win it. This is an amazing moment, because it was. The way they were saying, I don't know if he was out there, but the way they were singing his name, and it's hard to not get a little bit embroiled on how amazing it was. But like I just said, I'm kind of like really dedicated, really experienced and stuff to not let them things affect me performance-wise. So it was great to be a part of. But of course, I have that level of experience to, not think about it too much and still carry on with my game.
What was it like coming back today? Because there's a long gap between games for you. Do you almost feel like the start of another tournament today with that gap?
Yeah, I mean, it can be. There is a long gap in between games sometimes, but again, it's experience. This is my 9th World Championships. I'm kind of used to the fact of having like 7 or 8 days in between your first and second game usually. But I like the format now. I think it's the deserving format, and we've had quite a good few stories over the last 12 days of some great African and Asian players really, pushing the sport and giving the fans at home a good enjoyment. So it's been great watching all these amazing, players that I've never seen before, do some great things. So this is why this tournament is so special, and as special as it is. And I think it's been a great tournament so far. But for me, the break doesn't really bother me anymore.
You touched on all the upsets that we have seen. We've seen some big names go out in the last 24 hours. Again, how important is it for you? And does that just sharpen the mind a little bit not to join that list of casualties? Yeah,
I think it makes you appreciate that. Don't kind of think that you're going to win games that I think a lot of people have been like, oh, the final's going to be Luke versus Luke, but I've got some tough draws to possibly navigate through. So, I'm not thinking that I'm in that final before I'm there. I've got a tough draw to go through, so you kind of you have to appreciate that any single person that you play now can knock you out. And there's been a few shocks, but on the other hand, are they really shocks? There's players out there that can beat anybody, and like Wesley beat Gezi last night. It's a shock, but it's not really a big shock, because he's a Pro Tour player. He's been a world master, or he's been on the Pro Tour. Of course I expected Gezi to win, but he's a good player, Wesley. I've played him many times on the European Tour, and he's given me a good test. So, these things can happen if you're not on it. Thank you.
Luke, well done today. You talked about how that loss 5 years ago to Paul changed you, and you said how, but I'm just wondering why it was particularly that match where the changes then came after.
I just think that when I was 2 sets up, the tiredness that I kind of experienced, I couldn't control the long days, the long formats. I think when you're playing a first 3 sets, I think that game was probably about 25 legs. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's a long format, and I couldn't do it. So it was like I need to lose weight and change my physique. I need to change my energy levels, because if I can't do 25 legs, I'm never going to win a World Championships. I'm never going to win a big major tournament, because they're long formats. So that was what changed me mostly.
And that one leg that Paul Lim won tonight, is that the best you've felt ever, losing a leg of darts?
Probably, yeah, because obviously I'm never going to let someone win a leg, but I kind of didn't want to win the game 9-0. It's like, that doesn't feel great for me. I want to win the game 3-0 in sets, because you give him a set and he could run with it, you know what I mean? So it was good that he did win that leg. And the first 2 sets, he actually did play all right, to be honest. I just think I was at my utmost best and made it really hard for him to get into the game. So I was really, really happy that he did win that leg.
Thank you, Luke.
Luke, congratulations on a business-like performance there. Obviously, you was walking into this game not knowing what to expect from the crowd, and you've mentioned the crowd were fantastic. Just moving back to the Grand Slam, where you and Luke were up both on the stage, and you said you two were the best 2 players in the world, and you kind of made a call to arms for all the other players to step up their game. Do you feel that some of them players are stepping up, or do you feel there's more risks?
I mean, it's hard to say that people have stepped up after 4 weeks. You know, you need a bit of consistency. Of course, you know, me and Luke are the 2 best players in the world. That's not going to change no matter if we both don't make the final. We still are the best too. But, you know, it's kind of... it's up to people to stop us, is what we were kind of saying on the stage. You know, everyone was sort of complaining about how we'd making finals all the time, but I don't know, you can't... I'm happy that's happening too. If I'm making finals, I'm happy. So, you know, for myself, it's all about staying dedicated, working hard, and, you know, keep making them finals, whether they're against Luke or they're against someone else. You know, I don't really care on playing in finals as long as I'm there and give myself the opportunity to be there. But, yeah, of course, there's so many great players out there. You know, Jan is definitely one of them that is capable of beating, you know, me for sure. He's beat me quite a few times. He's definitely capable of beating Luke as well. So it's not about people stepping up. It's about people trying to break the fold of us making finals all the time. But there's definitely players out there that can do it. It's just you have to prove it over a consistent manner. Keep doing it. You can't have, you know, one time and then, you know, 6 months, 12 months not doing it again. I think that's what I'm quite proud of myself. You know, I broke into it, a couple of majors. Making finals, and I just kept doing it every year. You know, it's like 5 last year, 5 this year, 4 the year before. You know, so that's what I, you know, trying to do to myself. Keep making lots of major finals. You know, keep yourself up there. And
obviously, over the Christmas break, is it going to be much practice on the board, or is it just going to keep in the levels that you're currently at?
Yeah, I'm not going to like start practicing more than I usually do. I'm going to still practice like my natural, you know, for me tomorrow I probably won't practice. I've got a long drive home, so I won't, you know, exert myself too much. But Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, I'll do, you know, an hour and a half like I usually would, because that you can celebrate Christmas afterwards. You know, when you're world champion, it's something that, of course, I will still celebrate kids and stuff. But yeah, I still will dedicate to put my practice in as well.
Plus, it's something to do whilst the turkey's cooking.
Exactly. Although I'm cooking the whole Christmas dinner, so I won't get time to practice while that's cooking.
Well, we hope you have a lovely Christmas period and best of luck in the next round.
Thank you, and you. Thank you very much.
Luke, congratulations. We had Nathan Aspel in there earlier, and he echoed your thoughts on it's hard to necessarily find your top level when you're playing against players that aren't bringing that out of you. Yet you still put up 115 in the second leg. Is that, you know, how do you focus and how do you keep to that level when maybe you aren't getting pushed by, like you would by Luke Littler, or, you know? Yeah,
I mean, of course, sometimes it can be harder because when you're not being pushed, you can relax and then everything goes really well. Sometimes when you're not being pushed, you can relax and it all go wrong. So yeah, but you get like that little bit of a contrast. The first 2 sets I wasn't getting pushed and I was relaxed and playing well, and then the 3rd set I was too relaxed and again I didn't play so well. So yeah, I think Nathan's right. When you're playing against someone that's not throwing it back at you or putting you under lots of pressure and making sure you're in big troubles, you can play a little bit less better than you usually do. But yeah, for me, I don't look at things like that. You know, it's about going up on that stage, winning 3 sets, regardless of the average. You know, who really cares if you average 110 or 91? As long as you win, that's all that really matters. You know, that when you got that name on the trophy, no one's going to remember that game in the second round when you had 115 average. You know, they're going to remember the winner. So for me, it's all about doing what you need to do to win the game, like I did tonight. And you know, when I play Gabriel after Christmas, I think you'll see a much more consistent version of myself. You might not see me 115 then 80. You'll sort of see me a little bit more like 100, and let's be more consistent. Although that's what I hope that I perform at.
Yeah, and Gabriel Clemens up next. What I want to know, do you allow yourself to look past your next match? Do you look at your side of the draw, your bracket, and do you assess, okay, it could be him in the round 16 quarterfinals, or do you just focus on the next match?
Yeah, I mean, you do when the draw comes out. You kind of look through it and you think, you know, it could be him, it could be him, it could be him. But then you look what's happened in this tournament. Everyone that you think you're going to play, or especially like Luke Starr, he probably was looking like I'm going to play him, and then he's not. So yeah, you're not like, you know, for me, I probably would have thought I was playing Wessel, but I'm not. So yeah, you can kind of look at it and go, I think I'm playing him, but yeah, it doesn't really matter who I'm playing. I'm not really too fussed. Obviously, it's a tough quarter, I know that, but I got the credentials to win it, and I have to make sure that I'm performing at these levels like I did in the first 2 sets against Ted and against Paul at a consistent level, because if I did, then I'm going to be a tough player to beat.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.